In today's video, I'm showing you how to customize your sublimation phone cases without using a sublimation printer. I'll show you all the supplies and the technique to do this marbling effect. So without further ado, let's go. Before we start, let's talk supplies. You'll need sublimation acrylic paint from Artesprix. You'll also need these craft sticks. I got these from Dollar Tree. And then you'll also need these 2-ounce plastic cups, and I get these from Dollar Tree or Amazon, and I'll link everything in the description box down below. You also need a scale, a food scale, and Elmer's glue all, and you need to make sure that it's glue all, not school glue or clear glue. And then next, you're gonna need mixed media paper. And lastly, you're gonna need a big bin, plastic bin that you can fill up with water. So now let's get started. The first step is to mix your paints. The sublimation acrylic paint set comes with 4 sublimation colors plus white to mix your own paints, and Artesprix provides you with a color mixing chart so that you mix your own shades of color. But of course, you can just go with the red, blue, yellow, and black that you have. Now, to mix your paints, you're gonna need to mix your sublimation acrylic paint with a little bit of Elmer's glue all. For this technique, my rule of thumb is to use a 2-to-1 ratio of sublimation acrylic paint to Elmer's glue. So as you can see here, I used my food scale and these tiny plastic cups to measure about 5 grams of my sublimation acrylic paint. You can do less, of course, you just have to make sure that if you do less, you maintain the same 2-to-1 ratio. After you measure the desired amount of sublimation acrylic paint, that's when you want to go in with Elmer's glue all. I myself like to zero out the scale and then record the weight of the Elmer's glue all separately, but it depends on what you like. Also, another tip is to pour some of your Elmer's glue all in a condiment bottle, especially if you get the gallon size like it did, and this is going to help you in pouring tiny amounts. So using the condiment bottle definitely helped me get that precision of 2.5 grams that I want. Once you are done measuring the amount of Elmer's glue all, now is the time to mix your paints. And this is step number 2, is to use one of your craft sticks and mix the paint with the Elmer's glue all in this tiny cup. You'll need to mix it thoroughly and make sure that you scrape the walls of the cup to make sure that there is no white left and it's all one color. The next step, and this is optional, but you could use a dropper to add 2 or 3 drops of water if you feel that the paint that you've mixed is a little bit thick. And you don't want to add too much, and that's why I just use a dropper to just get these 2 drops in. And again, this is optional. And now you're going to need to repeat the same steps for mixing the rest of the colors that you're going to use in this technique. I mixed red and 3 other colors, but to be mindful of your time, I'm not going to show you all of that mixing, and let's get started with step number 3. You'll need to get your plastic bin filled with about 4 or 5 inches of water, and you'll need to make sure that it's big enough for the paper size that you're using. And now the fun begins. You're going to use your craft stick with a little bit of paint on it and just touch gently the surface of the water. You'll start to notice that you're actually adding color onto the surface of the water. This is hands down one of the coolest things that I managed to do with sublimation acrylic paint. And it is so satisfying to watch the paint as it flows onto the surface of the water. So as you can see, this is mostly it. You're going to continue adding paint onto the surface of the water, and you're going to keep switching in between the colors depending on what colors you decided to use. There is no right or wrong here. You're just going to continue to add paint until you feel like you have enough coverage of the surface of the water. Once you feel like you've added enough paint, now is the time to get a sheet of your mixed media paper in order to dip it and pick up all of this marbling effect. When you're going in with your paper, I like to fold it in the center so that I go from the center outwards. And I also like to touch each corner to make sure that the paper is touching the surface of the water, and this guarantees full coverage. And then pull it out, and the first thing that you're going to do after is to lay it straight on a sheet of paper towel to let it dry for a few minutes. Now, while our first sheet is drying, we're going to go back to our tub of water and we're going to add more paint and make another 2 or 3 sheets. And these are going to be sheets that are sublimation designs that can be sublimated on any sublimation blank. In my opinion, the second and third pull out of this technique is usually even prettier than the first one. And the coolest thing about this technique is that it gives you a great unique pattern and it gives you a full sheet of it so that you can use it in any sublimation blank. So as you can see here, I repeated the same steps to create another sheet, and this one came out even prettier. And here's how they came out after they were completely dried. And now is the time to sublimate. For this, I'm using the Sublimation phone case. This is a pack of 5 or 4, and it is a rubber phone case that has a metal insert that we can sublimate on. I like these sublimation phone cases, and they seem to be a better quality than the ones that I've tried before. These are from Amazon, and I'm going to link them in the description box down below. So the first thing that you're going to do, and this is crucial, is to remove the protective layer on the face of your sublimation blank. Next, you're going to select the area that you'd like to transfer onto your sublimation phone case. Also, now is the time to cut down the area that you'd like to transfer, and this way you have the rest of your sublimation design to use on other blanks that you have on hand. After that, you'll need to use heat-resistant tape and tape your design all around to your sublimation blank. Once you're finished taping your design, you'll need to use protective paper to cover the top and the bottom of your design with the blank secured to it. And this is important because as you can see, our design is bigger than our sublimation blank. So using protective paper is going to catch any extra sublimation ink, and it will prevent the ink from getting onto your heat press. So once you cover your blank with the design with protective paper, now will be the time to press your design. I pressed this at 385 for 60 seconds, and as you can see, the protective paper caught the extra sublimation ink. And look at how vibrant it turned out. You just want to wait for it until it's completely cold so that you could be able to handle it. But I really love how it turned out. Look at how vibrant these colors are. So now you're almost done. All what's left is to stick this metal part onto the phone case. So you'll need to remove the adhesive backing off of the rubber phone case. And then you're going to take the metal part that we sublimated on, and I like to wipe the back part with some alcohol and microfiber towel. And then you'll need to stick it onto the rest of the phone case. And with that, you have customized the phone case with sublimation without using a sublimation printer. This would make such a cute gift, and as you saw, the one sheet could actually let you sublimate more than one phone case. Now, as always, all the materials that I used are going to be listed in the description box down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next video.